Hi everyone, it's Audrey Alison, and I just wanted to set up this intro video to thank you for your patience in the delay for the November forecasts. It's 5 days after November, so I appreciate your patience with that. For those of you who've been patient, I wanted to let you know the reason behind this is because I just made a major move. I moved across the United States and I drove, and I really had a blast, but I could not record because I averaged about 8 to 9 hours a day in the drive. And it's very draining to record the videos. I needed to reserve a lot of my energy. And when I got to my loft in Jersey City, I didn't have Wi-Fi yet. I moved, so I have to handle some things in my own life, and I appreciate your patience. Right now, I'm still setting things up in the loft. So I'm at my mother's house, the house I was born and raised in several decades ago. But what I love about the timing of this is I didn't realize I would be recording here. And what I love about this room is I always get a lot of energy when I'm home in this house. This is the room my father passed away in, and I always feel the presence of him here and as well as other family members, but I feel like it's going to be something special. So I really appreciate the patience with getting these up. In my new space, it'll be more conducive to recording, a little more professional, and a lot more quiet and clear and clean energy is in this loft. So I'm excited to have more time and the right space to record in. My older property in Los Angeles was starting to get very invaded with lack of privacy in the area, and I was surrounded by a lot of energy that wasn't working for me anymore as a reader. And that'll change. You know, I lived in that place for 14 years, quite a long time, and it just I can't really explain it. I know I needed a change, and this is exactly where I needed to be. So, on to your forecasts. Again, thank you for your patience, and I'm wishing you a beautiful month. And the next video you see will be shot from my new place. So I'm excited about that too. This whole transition is exciting for me. On to the forecasts, and I'll see you soon. Hi Aries, my name is Audrey Alison. Thank you for joining me for your November 2016 forecast for the month. I'm using the Alchemical deck by Robert M. Place. And if you didn't catch the intro to this because you wanted to fast forward to the forecast, I would listen to the intro. It'll explain to you why I was delayed. However, the first transit I did want to discuss in November starts on the 9th. So I think we're going to be okay here with the 5-day delay. On the 9th of November, Mars is going to enter the sign of Aquarius. And I like this for you, Aries, because this will impact the 11th house of goals. And there will be a lot of stimulation, which is Mars, in the sector of friendships, goals, wishes, hopes. So, Mars, action, energy, passion, could really see you connecting with groups of people. When Mars enters this sector, he will then trine Jupiter, who's stationed in another air sign of Libra, and that's in the 7th house for you. So the connection between your relationships and your friendships is strong. You could also see some business partnerships start to grow in the relationship area. You could connect friendships with business. You could go into business with friends. There could also be the goal obtained in the relationship energies in the 7th house. Mars is can create a little bit of anxiety or anxiousness. So watch your tone when dealing with friends and any aggressiveness, because that's also Mars. When dealing with the people that are important to you in your life, you want to make sure you're not too harsh. But I like this stimulating energy in this sector, because if plans or goals have been delayed for Arians, Mars being your ruling planet, he's there to trigger, push forward some delay, moving direct in the 11th house of goals. So it's beautiful energy there for you. On Veterans Day, 11/11, we have Venus making a transit into the sign of Capricorn. Very sturdy, reliable energy in the career sector, in the 10th house. This will be conjunct Pluto when he gets there. And Pluto is that intensity that's been in the career sector. And some of you Arians that are at the correct age are seeing an ending, retirement in the 10th house. Venus is there to smooth things over. Venus is money in the career. She's also loving what you're doing in the career. Generally, it is a very soft and smoothing transit when Venus enters a sector. And that's a great place for her to be because Pluto's there. And Pluto tends to be harsh and dark, you know, the underworld. Pluto is all things intense, which is what Scorpio normally is, which is the ruling planet of Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So with Venus there, it lightens the mood a little bit. And this will work for Aries who have been feeling like your job is a death sentence or a very oppressive energy. Venus can lighten things up here in the 10th house, and she's there throughout the rest of November and a week into December. So take advantage of that and the openness, which is Venus, the loving energy, which is Venus, in the 10th house of the paternal, the father figure, connections with fathers. Some of you Arians have dealt with fathers who have passed as well with Pluto in the 10th. Although Pluto's been in Capricorn for quite some time, several years now, I believe 7 or 8 years. I'm not really exact on that. I do think it's around that time. Venus can see some smoothing or healing energy in this sector for you as well. And if you're dealing with any loss with the father, paternal side of the family, my heart goes out to you there. On the 12th, Mercury makes a transit into Sagittarius. So our personal planets in that 3-day period of time are zipping around. Mercury into Sagittarius could actually see Arians taking a foreign trip in the 9th house or getting your certifications, getting all of the studying handled, raising the bar a little bit in what you're learning and what you want to absorb. You could be very much drawn to the metaphysical with Mercury there, reading about horoscopes, reading about Reiki, studying massage, all things Eastern techniques as well, with philosophies, religions, metaphysical arenas. Mercury there wants you devouring information in that sector. So it's excellent for those of you studying for degrees and the higher certifications. When Mercury enters Sagittarius, that will ignite Uranus in your first house, who's been there for quite a while. Trining Uranus in Aries, the fire signs will be activated. Spontaneous travel is a symbol of that aspect, with Mercury trining Uranus between the 1st and the 9th house. Foreign trips, the invitation to go abroad, that didn't really come from you. A sudden communication to travel could occur in that period of time, from the 12th of November through about the second week of, or the first week of December. On the 14th, we have our full moon at 22 degrees of Taurus. So a culmination, an awareness in the 2nd house of finance, Taurus being the sign after you. This is a completion, maybe a completion of services rendered, an awareness of your budget. Where is your money going? Where have you spent it on? An analysis here. Something is seen in the 2nd house of self-worth, and your own self-confidence could actually be brought to light here. Are you... Now, this isn't about Mercury, but I'm inspired to say, are you speaking negatively about yourself, Aries? Are you self-deprecating? You could put an end to that. It's important to not speak about yourself in the negative. This is not normally what I would say regarding this this full moon in the 2nd. Do you hear the trains? I love them. But I'm inspired to say that because I feel like I'm channeling that. Try to focus on stopping the negative speech. Self-worth and self-confidence are also the second house, and the possessions that you own and how you hold yourself is important here. Something's illuminated for Aries. You could also just be putting an end to a particular type of savings or switching the monies at that time of the full moon. On the 21st of November, the sun enters Sagittarius, so conjunct Mercury in the ninth house, trining Uranus in your first house. Aries, you're probably doing a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Uranus being there for quite a while as well. Not being able to make up your mind about where you see yourself would be a common placement for Uranus in the first house, a common feeling for that placement. But with Mercury conjunct the sun in the ninth, I feel like you are led spiritually because the ninth house is extremely spiritual, and I want to say you're led in the right direction, literal direction, where you're living, where you're visiting, where you're traveling. I love the sun conjunct Mercury because it's very positive for communicating, especially when Mercury is direct, which he is. So you'll get a lot of information across when it comes to study, when it comes to travel. On the 29th, we have our new moon at 7 degrees of Sagittarius. Again, the ninth house. This is what is really activated for Arians in November. New moons could see new trips. With Mercury and the sun and the new moon energy in the ninth house, I feel like Aries is the one to travel over the holiday period. And happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate that holiday in the States around that time. The end of November. The new moon in the ninth is new courses, new trips, a new belief system. To take it deeper, politics, yikes. That's also extremely draining, the energy surrounding all of this political jargon and all of the nonsense also that's surrounding that. It's so hard to, as an empath, and I'm sure a lot of readers can identify, when you watch something, it's almost like absorbed through the skin. And when you're hearing things on repeat and you're just constantly beat over the head with the politics, it's extremely draining and frustrating because of the idiocy in all of it. But I can see where the ninth house for Aries, you're the leader of the zodiac. You are the catalyst sign. You are a cardinal sign. You're the president of the zodiac. And having this new energy in the ninth house could see you taking a new political stance, tweaking the belief system, and maybe your own political beliefs as well, because that's also the ninth house. It's law, it's justice, it's what is right, what works for you. And travel would be amazing outside of your typical location, a foreign location, which is also the ninth house. And by the month's end, you have Neptune and Chiron direct in Pisces in the 12th house. This, what's happening in your 12th house of quiet and spirituality, I don't mind too much because Neptune naturally governs that sector for you. And Chiron is a very healing asteroid, the wounded healer. Having them both direct, it puts a little bit of the rose-colored glasses back on, but I feel there's a sense of healing when Chiron is moving forward, that you can release things in the 12th house, the time frame of that. Releasing what no longer serves you, and maybe releasing some old patterned spiritual and political beliefs. We have to be progressive, people. It's 2016. Let's move forward and not backward. Okay, let's get to the cards. I'm anxious to do the readings in this room. So, Aries, I've shuffled the whole reading. This is what is in store for the remainder of November. And again, if you'd like to book with me, I'm at audreyalison.com. My readings no longer can be within a 48-hour period of time. I usually book at least a week, if not 10 days out, but I'll get back to you much sooner than that to set up your appointment. Justice, ninth house, law, what is right? And I just said that. What is right and what works for you? It's also the sign of Libra, where Jupiter is resting in your 7th house. Lots of Arians are drawing in soulmate energy because of Jupiter resting in the sector of soulmates. And Libras work for you, Aries. That's the polar opposite sign. Let's see what else comes up. Another major arcana, the Magician. Wow. The Magician has all the tools that he needs to get things done. Let me fix the light a little bit here. He has everything he needs. The cup, the wand, the pentacle, and the sword. So if you are waiting on the completion of something that has been delayed, business partnerships, the work arena, things can push forward with the Magician. You have Uranus in your 1st house. That is magic. That is sudden insight, inspiration. It's a roller coaster ride because Uranus is not steady all the way. It's similar to bipolar energy. It's up and down. Let me see what else comes up. Wow, major arcana. Arians are going through a lot of change, an important phase. Keep in mind, we are weaning ourselves out of the year of endings. 2016 is a number 9 year in numerology. Numerology only goes from 1 to 9. There are no double digits in numerology. So everything's condensed to one number. The year of endings is completing, and there's a lot of beginnings here with all of these major arcana cards coming up. Temperance. This is the 9th house, actually. This is ruled by a card of Sagittarius, which is the 9th house, which is where you have Mercury, the sun, the new moon. Patience. Aries, I know you're not typically described as patient. You are the opposite of that at times because you like to get things done. You initiate fire. Mars is your ruling planet. Your pace is very quick. Temperance suggests moderation, balance, sweet due time. So let's see what else comes up. It's a major arcana. Okay. I was like, how many are you going to get? The Knight of Cups. Internal processing, spiritual connection, maybe the delivering of news or information, and finding answers within, not seeking too much help outside of yourself. Trusting your own instincts is important when the King of Cups or Knight of Cups shows up, Knight of Vessels. And trusting the gut and the self over what other people are saying is important at that time. Could also be a younger child, a younger water sign male around you, Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces. But the first place I went with this is that it's describing your own intuition. And maybe you just need to be a little more reserved in combination with the Temperance card. A little more reserved for Aries, could be uncomfortable, but it's time for that. There is inspiration and insight with legal matters for any Arians dealing with a lawsuit, a case. With the Justice card first and upright, things are looking in your favor. This is also balance. Resting on top of Temperance, there is a required balance needed for Aries right now. It can't all be fast-paced, even though that's what works for you. Take your time with things. Wow, an ending on a major arcana. The Lovers. This could be the soulmate energy in the 7th house where Jupiter rests for you, like I mentioned, in this sign. You could be attracting the Libran to you. And not all of you will end up with Libras. It really does depend on what your ascendant sign is as well. If you know your ascendant, what is the polar opposite of that sign? That sign naturally governs your 7th house in your natal charts. And if you'd like to read with me, we can go over that. But ending on the Lovers, it's also the sign of Gemini. I'm naming my loft the Lover's Loft once I can get into that thing full time, because I am a Gemini, the last day of Gemini, first day of Cancer, but this marks the sign of Gemini. I love the alliteration of the Lover's Loft. So that's going to be my little home base's name. But you could be drawing in an attraction with the Lovers. This is a sexual card. It's a physical card. It's also about lust and desire. But these are some major arcana cards. The only one you didn't have was the King of, or the Knight of Cups. I keep wanting to say King. So maybe some of you are dealing with a little bit of an older water sign, even though he's showing up as the Knight. This could be a psychic energy too, that you're drawn to someone. You're attracted and drawn to even the more spiritual and the more intuitive right now. And again, any legal issues that you're waiting on, these can push through with some patience. Expect Uranus to work for you though. There is a lot of insight with that planet that can come overnight like a lightning bolt. You might not understand how things are working out right now, but it can all be understood in a moment's time with Uranus in your first house of body and self. All right, Aries, again, I thank you for subscribing to the channel. I hope this was helpful. And again, you can find me on Facebook, Audrey Alison Astrology and Tarot, where if you're not already signed up there or liking that post, that's where I actually let people know that the forecasts were going to be delayed this month. So you might want to give that a little like so you can get the updates there. If not, it's whatever works for you. I'm wishing you a sweet November, and remember, the sky is limitless, so reach for the stars.